Hello. All right, so we shall start again. Sorry about that. As many of you know, technology and me seem to have some challenges. Okay, can you guys hear me? Um, aha. So you can hear me. Okay. I love technology. It's good fun. All right, so thank you for coming back. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all of you for being a part of Radiant Reality. If you are a new subscriber to my channel, thank you so much for being here. If you are a continued subby of mine, you know I absolutely love you for it. And for those of you that are, that are new to the channel or just passing by, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. So we are doing things slightly differently. You're still going to be getting the same content. You're still going to be getting all of the good stuff, as I like to call it. But we're going to be doing it slightly different from here on in. One of the reasons that I really like this format is that you guys get to see the cards. I know a lot of people have said when I use the board, they can't see them. And to be quite honest with you, to make 12 videos every single week, on top of everything else that I have going on, in the background and things that I'm working on to bring you guys, I kind of figured if I can condense it a little bit, it would be, beneficial for everybody. So let me know, do you love or loathe the new format? There are going to be timestamps and all of that good stuff. So before we start, as always, again, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's get started with Aries, right? So your card or your key to the week message is the Lover's card, right? So, and in a lot of ways, the Lover's card always represents love, relationships. It's all of those things, absolutely. And you might find that relationships, partnerships, collaborations, connections all come up this week in some way, shape, or form. It may even be, in a lot of ways as well, that you are starting to really focus on what the options are in all of the different areas of your life, like what is available to you and how can you utilize the things that are available to you, or maybe how you can balance out some of your personal relationships with your professional partnerships. And, if you're having challenges or issues in those areas of your life, it might be that something is slightly out of balance. And remember, the choices and the decisions that we make in the Lover's card can sometimes lead to the devil. So this is a time, especially this week ahead, you want to be really clear on what you're choosing, what you're doing, what you're putting your time, effort, and energy into. So for your actions and options, you have the Empress card, right? So this is beautiful in a lot of ways. This is going to see you very focused on your material experience. It's going to see you very focused on your money, your materials, your finances. It will see you really focused as well on your environment. Remember, the Empress card literally represents sometimes where we actually live. And for a lot of you, this could be you really starting to figure out, okay, maybe this place needs to be enhanced. So if you're working on your home this week, it wouldn't surprise me. If you're working on your image this week, it wouldn't surprise me. If you're working on the way that people view and see you this week, it would not surprise me. I mean, with the Empress card as well, it does suggest that whatever ideas you have, they're going to be planted in fertile soil. And then finally, because you've got the Lovers card above all of this and infusing this energy, this would be a time for you to choose to have the best experience that you possibly can. For your communications and conversations, you have the Two of Swords, right? So this is a week where you really need to pay attention to your intuition. This is a week where you may as well, so whether this is a mother, whether it's a partner, whether it's a collaborator or a friend, a communication with a woman or a female or a prominent woman in your life might feature this week, and you might have to make a decision. You might have to choose between somebody. You might have to, between somebody and your job, or somebody and what you're doing. It also suggests as well that you might have to start considering how some of your partnerships are affecting your outlook. It's like, when we're with certain people, we tend to think a certain way. So pay attention to what comes up this week. When it comes to your, for those of you that work for somebody else, it looks like you're seeking other options, right? Maybe new avenues of work. Maybe you're looking for that promotion and you're not going to get it where you are. So it's like, how do I go outside of this? How do I do something different, basically? How do I, set myself up for something else that I would like to do? Which is great, right? This is not necessarily a bad thing. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, this is one of those weeks where you really want to pay attention to your nudges and hunches. The reason I say this is because it looks like whatever's coming up could actually be very lucrative for you, but it does feel to me like it's either going to be a little bit of a gamble, or there's a lot of people around you saying this might not necessarily be the best move. And so you're going to have to decipher and discern what you feel versus what you're being told, right? And then for those of you that are retired, should I say, sorry, nearly forgot you guys. For those of you that are retired or no longer working for any reason, this kind of suggests to me that you're probably very focused on your intuition, and you're probably very focused on the different paths or avenues that you have in order to develop that skill. It also suggests as well, for some of you, you're trying to take your emotions out of a certain situation. So maybe trying to detach yourself from a situation on an emotional level. For your money and materials, you have the Page of Wands, right? So this is really nice because, again, there's that idea, right? There's a spark of an idea, an inspiration, something that you're heading towards, something that you're ready to create. And it may be very new, right? Aries is a very pioneering sign anyway. It may be very new. It might be something completely different. It might be a totally different avenue or field of reference compared to what people know you for. And I kind of get the feeling that everybody wants you to stay the same this week. And there's a part of you that's like, no, I can see the value of this. I know that if I go in this direction or if I do this thing, it's going to be really good for me. So, take that and run with it. When it comes to your money and your finances, you are going to have to speculate to accumulate this week. Remember, Mercury is about to slam his brakes on and go retrograde at the end of this week. And more importantly, we've got an eclipse coming up. You never really want to initiate something new on the day of an eclipse, right? Because it's a very... it can be quite a volatile energy, right? So especially if you're setting intentions and doing that kind of thing, maybe wait until it's past so that you get a clear idea of what comes up. And then for your physical health and vitality, the Page of Wands is basically saying to you, it's time to get active, but not just for the sake of it. It's not like, oh, you have to go and lift weights at the gym. This is about you really saying to yourself, okay, you know what? I want to do something that I really enjoy that is active. So this could be dancing. It could be, yoga, Pilates. It could be, aerobics, like whatever it is. it's something that you enjoy, and it has to be something that you enjoy. All right, and then for your love and relations, you have the Chariot card. This is lovely, right? Because it suggests that whatever relationship stuff is going on, whatever relationship challenges and issues might have come up this week, you're really going to be able to see where you might be getting in the way of a relationship being what it could. So if you're single, or you're sort of newly seeing somebody and it's a little bit kind of, back and forth, this could be you kind of saying, you know what, I'm ready to get over myself and I'm ready to be here and be present. For some of you, this could literally be meeting somebody on your travels as well, right? So literally, right, the Chariot card in the process of travel with the Page of Wands. So this could literally be you meeting somebody that's very different from a foreign culture, but somebody that you meet actually on your travels. Another way that you could see this as well, for those of you that are married, partnered, or in long-term relationships, I would like to say that this almost suggests that you're it kind of suggests that you're almost ready to pick things back up in the bedroom space. Right? You're ready to get back to to more enjoyment. Maybe lockdown killed that for you. Maybe, for any number of reasons, right? But it looks like you're ready to get that energy back, which is great. So your eclipse message is the gate 18 and perfection, right? So this is something that Aries isn't necessarily known for its subtlety. It's not necessarily it tends to be an unrefined energy. It's one of the reasons you guys have so much power, because it's raw, it's undefined, it's just pure potential energy, right? And so this kind of suggests to me, in a lot of ways actually, that this week you might start to really focus in on the details and say, oh, well, maybe I've been going the wrong way all this time. This is not a time for self-doubt. It's a time for self-observation, for sure, but it's not a time for you to doubt yourself, all right? So be kind to yourself, be courteous with yourself, and ultimately just ask yourself what more refined looks like for you by your own standards rather than somebody else's. All right, so that was Aries. Let's get into Taurus. What's up, Taurus gang? What's up, Taurians? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I hope that served you well, my Aries people. For you, Taurus people, you have the World card as your key to the week, right? So what does this suggest? For me personally, this is going to see you looking at your communities. It's going to see you really paying attention to what and who you are attached to by association. This is also, for a lot of you, going to be the week where you finally say to yourself, you know what? I am a master at what I do. There's an acceptance here of not only not only accepting your own mastery, but also taking responsibility for your own brilliance, right? Taking responsibility to say, actually, I'm good at what I do. Actually, you know what I put out into the world is amazing stuff. This is about really claiming your own brilliance, your own mastery. And sometimes that is about taking responsibility for your art or your craft, whatever that might be. So for your actions and options, you have the Death card. Do you know what? It's really funny because as I'm looking at this card, I'm hearing the song. I don't know if you've ever heard that Rita Ora song. It was called R.I.P. and the lyrics were R.I.P. to the girl you used to know. So whether you're a girl or a guy, Taurus, is kind of irrelevant. The Death card in your actions and options, this is about what you do, right? So don't freak out and be like, oh my God, am I going to die? It's not that at all. This is you this week laying to rest the you that you used to be, the you that you have been known through or by other people for. There is a sense here as well, actually. It kind of feels like a rebirth energy here. So there is an aspect of you that's dying. There is an aspect of you that you're letting go or releasing or transforming even. But that really is going to come when you say to yourself, you know what? I am a badass. I know what I'm doing. I know what I am about. I know who I am. I know, that the work that I put out, that the things that I do are good. They're worthy of recognition. that in itself is enough for you to crack the shell of who you used to be so that you can reveal who you are now. And anyone or anything that doesn't resonate at that vibration usually gets chucked right out. The universe don't play. And this week it's about you not playing either. All right? For your for your communications and conversations, you have the Queen of Wands. So this week, when it comes to communications and conversations, you may be having a challenging conversation this week. Remember, the Queen of Wands is vibrant, passionate, energetic, says what she feels, doesn't hold anything back, you know, subtle as a brick, right? But we love her for that. Now, the other thing with this as well, this could see you wanting that new experience. And you're like, you know what? I'm pressing ahead with this. I'm pressing ahead with my new ideas. I'm pressing ahead with the things that I really want to do. The thing that really hits me with this is you're having to set a boundary. You're having to firm something up and kind of say to someone, no, hang on a sec. This is how we're going to proceed, right? And so the energy of these two cards together, I kind of get this message in my mind where it's like the other person is saying or thinking to themselves, well, you were supposed to say, you know, the old you would have done this, the old you would have said that. And you're like, no, that version of me is done. I've shifted my point of reference. You're either going to have to shift yours or we don't continue. So you're setting a boundary this week, Taurus, which I think is a really good thing. When it comes to your, for those of you that work for somebody else, this could literally be you saying to the boss, like, I know what I'm worth, and unless you start sort of matching that, I'm going to have to look elsewhere. Another way that this could show up as well, for those of you that are employees, this could literally be your next level. Right, so it kind of works both ways. You'll know which one of these messages resonates for you. This could literally be you stepping into something new and doing it in a way that's kind of like, whoa, okay, you know what? We're here. Right, this is happening. Which is really exciting. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, this could be you connecting with a bigger institution. It could be you connected, or maybe you're offering something and you're pitching at a level that previously would have been uncomfortable to you, but now you're about it. Now you've got that energy, and it's kind of like you're saying, you know what, I don't care if you're a client, you're not going to push me, you're not going to bully me. Like, I know what I'm offering, I know what I'm bringing to the table. Great. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, I mean, this could be with familial ties, it could be with friendship ties that you're setting those boundaries. It might as well also be you saying, you know what, I'm ready to use my time for more of the things that I am actually passionate about, for more of the things that I love. And that might come with, oh, well, you know, you're doing a lot of stuff for yourself lately. Yeah, you're damn right. For your money and materials, you have the Hanged Man. No big purchases this week, all right, Taurus, unless it's something that you absolutely need, unless it's something that you can't sort of really do without, you know. This week I would say no big purchases. Don't put money into things that are, yeah, just no big purchases this week. Another thing that you could observe over the course of this card as well is if you are creating something new, then the tools that you need for creating this new thing are absolutely a good thing to put your money into. But this would be a good week to observe and exercise some caution with big finances or big money. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, well, your Hanged Man is Piscean ruled, so or Neptune ruled, if you like. So this week, whatever you ingest that you know is toxic for you, this week I would pay attention. So if you've been thinking, I want to quit smoking, I want to quit drinking, I want to stop eating this, I want to stop overeating, whatever your toxicity is, whatever it is that you ingest that you know doesn't agree with you. I'll give you a really good example. I know that dairy products do not agree with me. Can I stop eating cheese? No, unfortunately not. Right? It's a challenge that I have. When it comes to your home and environment, you know, thinking about the home this week. And when it comes to the Hanged Man, this could literally be you considering what hasn't been done around the house that needs to get done now. So whatever it is that you're waiting for or waiting on, it's like completing that. And then finally, for your love and relations, you have the Ten of Wands. So one thing that comes up here, for those of you that are partnered or married or in relationships, this week, you really, maybe the conversation that you're having with the partner is, that actually, you know what, you don't listen to me. And you might need to set that boundary. One of the things with the Ten of Wands, it can see the other person talking too much or putting too much of a burden on you. That's one way that this could show up. For those of you that are single, or single and ready to mingle or looking, there is a sense here actually that you are maybe thinking that it's not going to happen for you in the place. Maybe the place or the environment that you are attached to needs to change. It's definitely possible. For your eclipse message, Taurus, you have the gate 24 and returning. One of the things that I like about this card, it always suggests that you're ready to drop an illusion. For me, it suggests that you're ready to release some idea of how something should be and move into something completely new. I think this is a good thing because it means that you're being really honest with yourself about what you need and where you actually feel like you're headed. Great, really great. All right, so that was Taurus. Gemini crew. Gemini. Are you in the hizzy? Are there any Geminis in the house? If you are, I just want to say a massive happy birthday to you. If you're celebrating this week, as I always say, and my astrological parent used to tell us, make sure you fit as much of the things that you love to do or want in the next year ahead into your day, right? So you fill the day of your solar return with a little bit of everything that you want to have in your life. So Gemini, you have the Justice card, right? So in a lot of ways, this is going to see you really committing. And because you've got that sort of sun in your sign energy going on, this might really see you asking yourself, what am I ready to commit to over the long run? This week could be a week where you really are saying to yourself, you know what? I'm ready for a relationship. I'm ready for a partnership. I'm ready to sign on the dotted line. I'm ready to get my house. I'm ready to get, like, whatever it is, you are serious about it this week. Remember, the Justice card is always about those bigger commitments. And so this week you could really be focused on that. Like, what do I actually want to put my time, energy, heart, resources, thoughts into? Like, you're being really selective about that this week, which I absolutely love. If there are contracts and stuff on the table or things that you're thinking about in that kind of respect, remember, your planet is in your sign. Mercury is in the sign of Gemini, but on the 29th of this month is going to go retrograde. And I have to say, I think this one is going to be really tough on all of us. I hope I'm wrong on that, but just given, if you've seen the, plug the PC in so that it doesn't die on us midstream, as has happened previously. If you saw any of the life path readings that I put out for 2021, or even the sign videos that I put out for 2021, you will know that June consistently came up as a challenging month. So just be aware of that. All right, for your actions and options, Gemini, you have the Death card. Interesting, because Taurus had this too, right? So again, this new sense of self, this new era of self. For some of you, letting go of a commitment, releasing a commitment and saying, actually, you know what, I'm ready to unbind myself from this. I'm ready to release myself from this commitment. I'm ready to kind of say, you know what, this worked for me up until now, but it's not going to work anymore. For some of you, this could be you divesting interests with friends, with partners, with family, with a job, with your finances. There's something here that you are ready this week to let go of or to move away from. And because you've got the Justice card, this is like the final round, right? This is you saying to yourself, I'm choosing, I'm making that decision, or I'm committing to ending or releasing something in my life, something that is no longer viable, something that maybe is no longer healthy. Remember, your actions and options is about what you do. It's what you initiate into the world. And the death card is endings, completions, culminations. It's finite. It brings an end to something. This is a conscious decision or a conscious commitment for you to end something about the way that people see you. For your communications and conversations, you have the Three of Wands, right? This is great. This is a very lucky card. It's also asking you to think bigger about what you're, maybe whatever you're sharing with people, maybe whatever you're ready to share with the world. Think bigger, expand your vision, start to think to yourself, what can I do here? What can I add to this? And it doesn't mean that whatever you're doing or trying to offer the world is incomplete. It just means that you need to think bigger, right? So whether that is you, whether that's what you're ready to share with the world, think bigger, take it broader. When it comes to those of you that work for yourselves, work for somebody else even, it does literally look like you're already thinking, you know what? This job is not for me anymore. Like, you've already got your sights, like you're looking outward, like the figure on the card, right? You're looking out. How do I get beyond this? How do I make more money? How do I incorporate more of the things that I actually love to do? This, for me, really feels like you're going in a new direction. So when it comes to the work or the job, right, it looks like a lot of you have already chosen. You want or need something else. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, thank you. One of the things that I will say to you with this, it really is about you asking yourself, how do you reach more people, or how do you take whatever you have and not only reach more people, but how do you make it more accessible? That's one of the things that I really feel about this. It's like, whatever your business is or your business model is, you're asking yourself, not only how can I make it bigger, but how can I make it more accessible to more people? Thank you so much, Erin. That really means a lot. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, it looks like you're really committing to expanding your own resources at the moment. So maybe you're worried that the money that you've got for retirement or, through unemployment or whatever isn't going to last. So it's like you're looking for something else. Remember, this card very often comes with windfall energy as well. So you could get a little boost to the finances this week. For your money and materials, you got the Nine of Cups, so you better bring me this money. Look at this, right? So all Geminis, that's in some way, shape or form, you're hoping to improve your finances. You're hoping to get more or to gain more materials and resources, and you've got the Nine of Cups. That's your wish fulfilled. So whatever's going on this week, money does look good for you. It does look like it's going to improve in some way, shape or form. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, for those of you that have had health issues, I'm not a doctor, not a medical advisor, I can't give you that kind of advice, but it does look like you're recommitting yourself to getting in tip-top health, right? Not shape, not like, ooh, I want to get fit, maybe that's a part of it, but this is about you really committing to getting better, to getting healthy, to, and from the inside out, which is great. When it comes to your home and environment, for some of you, this is literally about, how do I improve the home? Some of you might be considering extending the home at this moment in time, which is great, or maybe even purchasing a home, which is wonderful. There's a lot of change coming up for you guys this week, and certainly a lot of decisions about, the direction that you're going in. And then for your love and relations, you have the Hierophant card. So for some of you, this could be like engagement season. This could be like marriage season. Maybe you're deciding to get married. Maybe you're deciding to get hitched. Maybe you're deciding to finally commit to your partner in a new way, to make it official. For those of you that are newly dating, it looks like you've been doing this probably behind the scenes. Maybe the death that you're experiencing or leading is the death of singledom, right? Maybe you're deciding to take things in a completely different way, which is really exciting for you guys. For those of you that are single, if you are meeting somebody, it's very likely to be somebody that's quite stern, some possibly authoritative, maybe somebody that's very well established in and of themselves. It could also suggest as well that maybe this is someone that works in the legal field, which is, very interesting. And then for your eclipse message, dear Geminis, this one's happening in your opposite sign of Sag, so that'll be interesting. Oh, look at that. And you've got the gate 24 and returning as well. So again, drop in the illusions. You know, Gemini and Taurus both seem to have this energy going on. It's like whoever you were is now done. Whatever you've been known for is now done. And it's like you're stripping yourself back to reveal who you truly perceive yourself to be now, which is wonderful. The fact that it is the thingy and you've got the butterflies there. Remember, butterflies, I don't know if you can see those. Let me hold this up a bit. But remember, butterflies always represent the energy of transformation. They always represent something reaching a new cycle or moving into a new cycle in some way, shape or form. All right, so happy birthday, Geminis, for you wonderful people. So we're moving on to the next deck now. For Cancer, my wonderful lunar brothers and sisters, let's get into it for your week ahead. So you've got the Hanged Man as the key to the week, right? This is a week where you really want to take it easy with yourself. This is a week where you really want to check in with yourself about how you actually feel. It would be a really good time for you to pay attention to whatever your spiritual understandings are and whatever your spiritual leanings are. The other thing that comes up with this card as well, very often it's going to reveal to you or highlight to you where you're overextending yourself, where you're overgiving. Now, Cancer's already prone to this, right? But this week it could go too far and it might be like, oh, you know, poor me, woe is me. Like, don't get into that space, all right? And if there is something this week that you don't want to do, just say so, right? Don't do the whole Cancerian thing where you kind of pout about it and it's like, well, fine, I'll just do it anyway and I'll complain about it later. Don't do that this week, right? Just call it as you see it. It doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be defined. For your, actions and options this week, you've got the Eight of Swords, right, with the Hanged Man. This week, my dear Cancerians, you could be so much in your mind, right, that it's like you convince yourself that the sky is falling. And it kind of suggests that really this is just you getting in your own way. There's going to be a lot happening on the mental sort of plane this week, which makes a lot of sense, right? We're heading towards a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, regardless of what sign it's in, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So whether this is your sun, moon or ascendant, you are going to be feeling this. Everything that happens with the moon, Cancer feels more deeply than any other sign, aside from the sign that it's actually happening in. So, you know, Saggies, they're going to be feeling this for sure. But Cancerians, you know, sun, moon and ascendant people, you are going to feel this a lot. Don't convince yourself that the sky is falling when it's not. If you are locked into or tied to something this week, you're really going to feel it. And that Eight of Swords is basically saying you have a chance here, right? If you feel constricted and confined by something, you have a chance here to release it. But it's going to see you having to be really honest and speaking up about something rather than just kind of accepting it and, you know, complaining about it later or internalizing it, you know, which is even worse. For your communications and conversations, you have the King of Pentacles. So when it comes to your work, your profession and your career, if you don't feel like you are being fairly compensated, now is the time for you to speak, right? Don't go in all guns blazing. Obviously, you do have the Hanged Man, which suggests that you'll be doing this at a, you know, if you are doing it, you'll be doing it at a pace. One of the other things that comes up here as well, almost like your outlook, because it's the King of Pentacles, right? So it suggests that you understand that there's a better way to do something. And it's almost like, okay, well, I've got the expertise. I wonder if they're going to defer to me. If there is something that you have to say or that you feel like is worth pitching in, do so. Don't wait to be invited in this regard, right? Don't get me wrong, you've still got the Hanged Man, but especially if you feel like something is encroaching on your time. For those of you that work for somebody else, like I said, just don't wait to be invited. Like, you know, suggest something and see what comes up from it. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, one of the things that I will say to you in this regard is give yourself time to consider what the end goal or game might be. All right, because at the moment it kind of doesn't feel like you've done that. And so because there's no clear definition, it's kind of like, okay, well, I just want to do this, right? But it's not really, you need to bring it into some sort of focus, okay? For those of you that are retired or no longer working for any reason, this is going to see you really starting to work on or towards a practical skill of some sort, especially something that could be considered, you know, that could go on to be considered a hobby, or maybe something that you can earn money for. I don't think this is necessarily a return to work, but I do feel like you'll maybe create a new revenue stream of some kind. For your money and materials, you have the Judgment card. So it looks like this week, if you are making a financial decision, and a big one at that, remember the Judgment card always brings big change. One of the ways that this could show up, though, especially for, you know, well, for all of you in some way, shape or form, this could be an old debt that resurfaces. If there's something that you know is outstanding, Cancer, this week, just deal with it. All right, whatever it takes, just deal with it, because if you leave it, it's likely to come back up in a bigger way. This is one of those moments, like, or if there's something that comes up this week that needs to be repaired, or you get another hint that something needs to be repaired, get it done. All right, just get it done, because it looks like if you leave it, it's going to snowball. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, so one way that this could show up for you, and this is really interesting actually, one way that this could show up for you is either a chronic condition that you've had. Very often chronic conditions come up with the Judgment card, because it's something that's been around for a long time. It kind of goes away and comes back, goes away and comes back. This could be, now I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice, but check in with your lymph system. Check in with your, you know, your internal and maybe even your endocrine system, so your hormones and stuff. Check in with that. Maybe go and see a specialist around that sort of stuff. When it comes to your, come on brain, home and environment, I mean, you've got this right next to the King of Pentacles. It would be prudent for you to consider, right? So remember what I said to you about repairs and stuff. This week, if there is a repair that needs to be done, just get it done. All right. And then finally, for your love and relations, you have the Four of Cups. So if you and your partner are in a little bit of a funk and you have maybe had some tough conversations already, this would be a moment where you need to consider that maybe, just maybe, your partner will come through for you, right? Maybe just, do you know what I mean? Like, just consider that maybe your partner could come through for you in a way that you hadn't expected. But because you've got the Hanged Man here, I would say if there is something that you need to get off your chest, just say it. You know, maybe the reason you've been holding back is because you're worried about what they're going to say, or maybe they won't get it, or do you know what I mean? I would literally, whatever it is that you need to get off your chest, get it off your chest, because you never know, your partner might really come through or up trumps for you. For your singles, honestly, this doesn't look like a great week for love. It looks like you've got a lot going on that internal sort of space level, and I would spend some time delving into that. Right, now look at this. So you've got the Gate 57 and intuition as your eclipse message. Listen to your intuition, delve into it, and don't just kind of say, okay, yeah, that's an intuitive hit, next. Whatever comes up for you through that intuitive space, especially around this eclipse, Pay attention. Give yourself time to really consider what is being said to you. What is your intuition? What is your psychic awareness or your gut response trying to tell you? Try and take some time to pick it apart. Don't drive yourself mad and become obsessed about it, but do try and kind of figure out, okay, so I'm having this intuition. What does this mean? You know, where could this take me? Don't sit and kind of, like I said, drive yourself mad about it, but do pay attention to it this week. For your, so that is your Cancerian persons. So for Leo, now Leo, interestingly enough, had the same card as their key to the week, so I'll leave that there. And all right, so again, for Leo, you've got the Hanged Man. This is really a time for you to consider where you really need to foster some acceptance. Where is it that you can give yourself over to the way that things are, as opposed to the way that you would like them to? This might be a message as well this week. Whatever you're planning to move on, whatever you are planning to set into motion, it may not necessarily be time. So if you're a Leo this week and there is something big that you're trying to initiate, just wait. You don't have all the information yet, or there's something that is unclear to you at this moment in time. All right, for your actions and options, look at this. So Leo's definitely looking to get inebriated this week. You got the Three of Cups, right? So it's kind of like, I want pleasure, fun and enjoyment at all costs. Not necessarily a bad thing. You want to enjoy yourself, especially after the last year and a half basically that we've all had, right? It just, because you've got the Hanged Man there, it can sometimes see you going overboard. One of the things I will say to you, if you are getting into reunions, if you're planning to reach out to old friends, if you're planning to reconnect with people that you haven't seen for some time, just take a consideration that your presence or your reappearance might not be met with the adoration that you're hoping it will. All right, so if you're thinking about treading a path of memory lane this week, just be conscious that it might not necessarily be all the fanfare that you would like. Outside of that though, it looks like you really are just up for enjoying yourself, to having more fun, which I think is great. For your communications and conversations, you have the Page of Swords. So there is paperwork, letters, there's paperwork, letters, waiting for communications, waiting for documentation, whatever you are planning to sign or to put your name to put 1111, make a wish everyone. Whatever you're planning to set into motion, I would take a minute to consider. And especially if this has something to do with if this has something to do with legal matters or anything like that, before you sign it, get a fresh perspective, get a fresh pair of eyes. I've had to say that a lot to Leos this week. So going forward, it looks like that energy is still going to be around. All right. So for those of you that work for somebody else, it is the Page of Swords, right? So this week, if you're making a request at work, again, maybe don't expect the earth straight away. And it does look like this week you're going to have to exercise some patience. You might not necessarily get answers in the time frame that you're hoping for them. When it comes to those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, really, this is about you. I would start reaching out to people. So when it comes to creating a network, when it comes to the network that you already have, maybe try to get to know your people on a more personal level rather than just a professional one. When you can inject the right amount of personal touch into what you do, that's when you really build good working relationships, right? When people actually know who you are outside of work, alongside what you do and what you're good at, it creates more of a rapport. And this looks like something that you might really benefit from this week. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, look, this week it looks like you're going to have a lot to deal with, but it looks like there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of documents, a lot of professional things, or I say professional, maybe that's the wrong word, official things that you might have to sift through. For your money and materials, you have the Knight of Wands. I mean, this, because you've got this Three of Cups here, I'm just having images and visions of all of the Leos just going out and being like, I am drinking, I'm having fun, I'm dancing, I'm going to find someone to booze and schmooze with, which is fine, right? If that's what you want, if that's what you need, then absolutely go for it. I would just err on the side of caution, right? And it's really interesting that this message is coming up, because especially specifically for you ascendant Leos, the eclipse in Sagittarius on the 26th is going to happen in your fifth house, right? So for all of you, in some way, shape or form, the fifth space from Leo. And this is all about, fun, creativity, sex, sensuality, all of the joy and the mirth, and maybe even a little bit of overindulgence on that material plane. And it kind of feels maybe around that time, or maybe because the eclipse is kind of in this week, this whole week you could just be like, you know what, if it doesn't bring me pleasure, it's out. If it's not, if I'm not having fun, you could just be like, pleasure at all costs. So just be aware of that, especially because financially you might find yourself in a place where you're like, ooh, I don't know, this is just not a week to run up a tab. I'll put it that way. Like, if you go out to a bar, don't give them your credit card. Just put it on my tab, And it could be, at the end of the night, holy crap, you want how much? All that sort of stuff. Another way that this could play out for you as well, in joy and hope and optimism for the future, you might decide, you know what, I'm going to plan a holiday, and you could end up paying through the nose for it. And it's like, no, I don't care. When the time comes and my lockdown eases, I'm going on holiday and I don't care what it costs me. If you're in the place to do that, great. If not, probably be a bit cautious. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this week, again, it looks like fun, vibrancy and all of that, but you've got the Hanged Man here, and there is something about that kind of, and I knock on wood with this, it kind of speaks about accidents to me. It's almost like you're rushing to get somewhere or to do something, and I'm not talking about a car or anything like that. I mean, walking into the door frame, like forgetting that you'd left something on the floor and you trip over it. It's like you're in this sort of hurry do energy, and it's kind of like you could end up having a bump, a slip, a trip, or a fall of some kind. Just be conscious when it comes to your physical being. And then for your home and environment, well, it looks like a lot of you are trying to spend as little time at home as possible. Maybe not necessarily a bad thing, but just, I don't know, there's something that just wants me to say to you this week, Leos, err on the side of caution with whatever you do. Then you've got the Chariot card in your love and relations. So when it comes to partnerships, relationships, one of the things that I will say to you is this could be a really good week for meeting somebody. If you can do this outside where you are, this would be a great week for those of you that have dated somebody, and now you're ready to actually meet them in person. This could be great. Obviously, always tell somebody where you're going, let people know where you are, make sure your phone is switched on with plenty of battery, be sensible. But if you're ready to finally meet someone in person, go for it. Another thing with this card as well, when it comes to those of you that are single, literally through going out, through you could be meeting someone actually in person, a connection of some sort that takes place in person, which I think is wonderful. All right, so your eclipse message, my dear Leos, is pop that in there. the gate 48 and depth. So this is really interesting, right? Because this whole energy for you seems to be about, more fun, more enjoyment, just having, all of being in that space, right? And the funny thing about it is you've got this eclipse energy that really maybe is saying to you, how can you take this a bit more seriously? What do you need to take a bit more seriously this week? Is it a partnership or a relationship? Is it where you're at with your studies? Is it where you're at in your journey of self-discovery? Like, what do you need to put more depth into? And look, right, so you see on the chest there, the figure has the rune Dagaz, which is all about the dawning of a new day. So eclipses bring that kind of energy anyway, right? So where is it that you are ready to have a rebirth or a regeneration in some sort, in terms of your creativity, in terms of your projects, in terms of the things that you love to do, in terms of the way that people see you? Like, this is really, I guess, a message to get a little bit more serious about those things and what is important to you. Okay, so next, my dear Virgo people. All right, I'm just going to separate these out so that we don't just get the same cards. All right, give them a good shuffle. So for Virgo, your card is Judgment. Big changes on the horizon for you this week. Huge changes or realizations, but possibly in relation to the or your personal past. Now, in some way, shape or form, I mean, I like the Judgment card because it basically says you're ready to implement a big change. You're ready to go in a new direction, but it does very often say, whether you like it or not, change is coming. Now, you're a mutable sign, so it's not such a big deal for you guys, but for your actions and options, you have the Page of Swords. So it looks like you're ready to release something into the world. Maybe you're making a big announcement this week. Maybe there's a declaration of some sort. Maybe you're filing some sort of paperwork. This could be an application. It could be a declaration of some sort. This could be a response to something that's come up for you. Maybe you want to put an offer in on a house. Maybe you are ready to apply for that job. Maybe you're ready to apply for the loan. Like, whatever it is, it looks like you're considering something on that level. And it is kind of you being very... almost like very, I don't want to say like finite, but you're being very precise about this thing that you're doing. It's like, it looks like it's something, quite big. So it's not like you're, jumping in haphazardly. I mean, not that a Virgo ever would, of course. All right, for your work and for your communications and conversations, you have the Ten of Pentacles. How amazing is that, right? So when it comes to money, materials, finances, bank or loan applications for credit, etc., you have what you need. The money that you need is available to you. The other thing with the Ten of Pentacles, it very often represents your home. So if you're having big talks or conversations about the home, about where you go from here, this wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Now, for those of you that work for somebody else, this could be you, literally this week you could be starting to think to yourself, or maybe even declaring, I'm ready to start my business. I'm ready to start working from home. I'm ready to put my time and effort into the thing that I want to do from home or around home. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, one of the things that comes up here is you trying to figure out maybe how you can either cut costs, not corners, because you're Virgos, you would never do that, but maybe you are trying to figure out this week, how can I keep the costs down but keep the quality up? How can I get maybe more out of what I'm doing? Or maybe how can my customers or my clients get more out of what I'm doing without me having to be so present? All right, so maybe using your time more effectively or finding ways to do that. For those of you that are retired or no longer working for any reason, this is going to see you very focused on home, very focused on money. It might also see some of you, certainly those of you that are in that position. Some of you, it looks like you might want to downsize. Maybe this week you're starting to ask yourself, how can I do that? What are going to be the pros and the cons, and what are going to be the implications? For your money and materials, look at this. That is big money, right? Especially for those of you that are applying for finances, applying for loans, for those of you that are thinking about purchasing or buying land even. This looks like a very good week to find the place. Maybe not necessarily sign, if you can hold off. Obviously, we do have the Mercury retrograde going on, but if you can hold off, great. If not, then don't. But this looks like good money or big money. And like I said, the money that you need is available to you. For those of you that are thinking or considering doing something to do with crowdfunding or reaching out to people for donations and stuff, this would be a really good week to do so. The other thing is as well, there's something here that suggests that your living situation is about to change. Maybe not necessarily this week, but you are starting to really consider, okay, is this space the right one for us or me? For your physical health and vitality, bones, teeth, knees, all of the hard stuff, your structure, you need to look after that this week. So, whatever that means to you. And then for your, we talked about home and environment. For your love and relations, you have the Seven of Swords. Okay, so not an easy card to have. For those of you that are single, I think this week you're tearing the band-aid off. Maybe this week you're kind of saying, okay, you know what, the reason I tend to have the same relationship is because I have a type. And this week you're going to be really brutally honest with yourself and say, okay, you know what, if it's my type that keeps getting me into trouble or I keep having the issues with, maybe, just maybe, it's time to change the type. All right, so not necessarily a bad thing. For those of you that are married or in partnerships, this week it would be, it looks like you're going to have a conversation with the partner about how their work is encroaching, their work or your work even is encroaching on the relationship, right? So it looks like a tough conversation in that regard. And then, so you also have the gate 57 and intuition. So pay attention to yours. For those of you that are into that sort of thing, if you do ancestor worship or have an ancestor practice, this week you could be getting a very powerful message, right? Which is awesome in a lot of ways. One of the things that comes up with this as well, it kind of feels for some of you, you're like newly coming into or reawakening your intuition. And if that is the case, you're going to have to take time to assimilate it, right? You don't just go from 0 to 100 in time. It's like anything, and I say this to everyone, it's like a muscle. It can be trained. How much natural sort of ability or aptitude you have obviously matters. Not all of us are Olympic sprinters. I know I'm definitely not. Right? So just something to consider. All right, so that is that deck done. And for Libra, you have the Temperance card. Let me just have a little... I made the mistake of having coffee, and what I should have done was have some water. All right, so you Libran people, you have the Temperance card as your key to the week, right? What this kind of suggests to me is this week you are really starting to look at what you have created with the thought process, patterns, and belief structure you have, right? So this week you're really going to be looking at, okay, I've got this at the moment. It's like you're taking stock of where you are and starting to really get clear on what it is that you've done, to make the circumstances that you have. This is great because it means there's a lot of self-honesty this week, which is phenomenal. For your actions and options this week, you have the Fool card. new things, places, people, energy. This is going to see you being really honest and open about what you want, about what you need, but it's also going to see you saying to yourself, okay, well, what I've done so far, what I think, what I believe has brought me up until this point, okay, it's probably not going to create what I'm hoping to do, so it's time to go off in that new direction. I really like this for you because there's a sense here that you are opening up the next chapter of your life. This week, though, pay attention because there could be some really interesting synchronicities, and if there are, there's something about your energy that is attracting those. So if it's a synchronicity that you want, awesome. If it's a synchronicity that you don't want, this would be a week for you to pay attention and say, right, how am I feeding into this? For your communications and conversations, you have the Four of Pentacles. When it comes to your money, materials, finances, savings, etc., this week it looks like you might have to dip into them. And, you know, this could be because of an opportunity that arises for you. Just remember, with some of the stuff that's going on astrologically, if someone's promising you something that is too good to be true, because it looks like there's going to be an opportunity that arises. Someone's going to come to you and say, oh, you know, this is going on, do you want in? But it is going to require a financial investment from you. And I wonder if this is either like a get rich quick scheme or whatever. You're going to have to be really discerning between what is a synchronicity and what is somebody just trying to get what they need out of you. You know, and maybe they're not necessarily doing this to deceive you. Maybe they genuinely believe what they're saying. So just be aware that that energy is around. For those of you that work for somebody else, if you're having discussions about a pay rise, if you're having discussions about responsibilities versus pay bracket, this week it might not necessarily be good news. You know, it might be that the boss, the company, whatever, is not willing to budge, and it looks like you might not be either. Sorry, let me move these up so that you can see them a bit clearer. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, one of the things that I will say to you with this, just consider consider what your needs are versus what your expenditure is, right? Because I kind of feel like at the moment, it's almost like you don't want to buy something. It's like, you know, you kind of need it, or that it would be the best thing for you to do. So a very different energy, right? To some of what's come up. Like, it kind of feels like it's almost like, you know, you should spend the money on this, but you're not sure. Check in with yourself and ask yourself why that actually is. When it comes to your people that are retired, whether you're retired or no longer working for any reason, remember your Four of Cups very often talks about your finances, your money, and your savings. And sometimes this can be you sort of stuck. I almost want to say this is like analysis paralysis. Maybe you're in that sort of between a rock and a hard place when it comes to what you should or shouldn't spend money for. For your money and materials, so remember what I said, analysis paralysis. Then you got the Eight of Swords as your money and materials. First of all, if somebody does come to you with a financial opportunity this week, the chances are you're going to be locked into this a lot longer than you had planned to. Or it may just be something that ends up being an absolute black hole for finances or money. Just be aware of that so that you can make a well informed decision. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, your Eight of Swords is, come on brain, actually the area of the body that is ruled, no it's not, it's the area of the body that is ruled by Gemini. So this would be your arms, fingers, hands, that whole sort of general area. Just be careful of this week, all right? And then when it comes to your home and environment, especially next to the Four of Pentacles, it does look like, Geminis, in some way, shape or form, you're kind of stuck at home this week. So I don't know what's going on there or what you're doing at home, but make sure it fits you. All right, and then for your Love and relations, you have the Eight of Wands. So two eights in the tarot represents new knowledge, represents new information coming in. So where you didn't have all the facts or where you weren't aware of what was going on, it looks like you will get that information. And it's very likely to come through a family member, a partner, somebody that you're very close to. And it does look like you're getting a communication from a distance. So for those of you that are single, look, this week, if you're meeting somebody, it's very likely to be online through those sort of new channels and avenues that we're all doing. Again, just I've given the catfish speech so many times, but I'm going to give it again. You cannot, right? You cannot be out here in 2021 being catfished. If somebody doesn't have Skype or Zoom or, you know, any gosh knows other whatever program or whatever on their phone, and they can't spare 2 minutes to talk to you to show you that they're a real person, I got no time for it. You cannot be out here getting catfished in 2021. And if you are, I'm sorry, but I can't say I have any sympathy, right? If with everything that's going on, if someone can't FaceTime you for at least 30 seconds to show that it's them, move on, right? Move on. For those of you that are partnered or in relationships, just consider your partner's response to things. You know, and I don't know why, I just get this sense that your partner actually might need some support this week. So just be on hand. All right, your eclipse message is the gate 49 and revolution. So you are, it's funny because Libras have been on this kick for a while now. You're kind of like on this, right, what's next? Right, it's like you're stripping things back. With the gate 49, if I'm not mistaken, this is called the gate of the sleeping phoenix. And this is about pure, unbridled power. And Libras are like this anyway. You have this ability to do more than most people when it comes to the work sphere. This week, though, just consider, are you getting the compensation for it? So the eclipse is really trying to highlight to you what needs to change about what you're getting in response to whatever efforts or energy you're putting out. All right, so my dear Scorpio, it is your turn. How are you guys liking the new format, by the way? Are you enjoying this new way of doing things? Let me know in the chat. All right. For your Scorpio. Scorpio, you have the Strength card, right? So, with the Strength card, I often say to people, pay attention to what your physical body is asking you for, right? This week, you got to keep your vessel strong. Get plenty of rest. Make sure you drink your water. Look after yourself. Like this week, you really do need to do that whole self-care to the extreme thing. Another thing with the Strength card as well, this is going to see you plucking up the courage to get something done, plucking up the courage to move in a specific direction. So pay attention, you know, really take a moment to think about what you actually need. All right, for your actions and options this week, you have the Six of Cups. This is really all about you getting back to what your inner child needs. And I know that sounds really crazy because we're talking about Scorpios, right? You guys are very tough characters. You don't really need much from the outside. But on the internal, and I promise I won't tell anyone, you got a soft, squidgy middle. But this week, I would specifically work on your inner child stuff, right? So if there's something that you always wanted to do but never felt like you were able, this is the week to start honoring that. If there is some old challenge that you never thought you were going to be able to get by or get beyond in some way, shape or form, this is the week to do that work. This is the week to delve into the deepest aspect of self so that you can find out what it is that you actually consider to be fun, pleasurable, enjoyable. This is a really powerful week where you could address something on an internal level that has been, I don't want to say lacking because that's a really bad word, but something that has maybe felt imbalanced on an internal level. This week you have a chance to really, I was going to say to really obsess over it, but to really, what's the word? Not adapt. This week you have a chance to really rewrite it, I guess. That's probably the best way to put it. Like, there's something on an internal level that you could rewrite this week, especially if it stems back to your own personal past, or maybe even a past personal hurt, right? Because remember, the Strength card is also your heart and your courage. All right, for your communications and conversations, you have the Three of Cups. More fun, more enjoyment, more laughter, more mirth. I mean, it's funny that some of you are saying this, right? You need this, or been working too hard. Scorpios, this week, laugh until your cheeks hurt and your belly aches. That is what you need this week. You need fun, you need laughter, you need joy, you need excitement, quite frankly. And this is a time as well, if you are a Scorpio, sun, moon, or ascendant, I would really take a minute to connect to the people that make you feel good. And I would really take a minute to ask yourself, what can I do that I actually really enjoy, that does make me laugh? When it comes to your for those of you that work for somebody else, the Three of Cups could actually see you maybe considering going back to an old industry or an old job, something that you used to do that you really enjoyed. Now, one thing that I will say about this, you do just want to be aware that that's coming from a genuine place, rather than just, well, that was fun, I had fun doing that, so you just jump straight into it. Take a moment to really consider if it would actually be viable for you now. Would it make you enough money? Would it be something that, you know, creates more enjoyment for you? Or is it just the you being nostalgic, right? If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, solopreneur, one of the things that comes up here, you could reach out to an old friend or an old colleague, or possibly even an old client, to get what you need. Because, you know, the Three of Cups is often reunions, but it kind of feels like you want to do this more from a friendship sort of space, rather than like just solely about work. You'll get much more out of it. And then for those of you that are retired or no longer working, again, really start to think to yourself, how can I bring more fun into my day-to-day experience? What are the things that I never got to do? What are the things, you know, and this isn't about looking at your bucket list. It's more a case of asking yourself, what feels like it hasn't been fulfilled as yet? What can I do in the here and now on a day-to-day level that is going to help me get back into, into the zest of life? I don't know why, I just feel like you need more enjoyment. For your money and materials, you have the Nine of Pentacles. So it's interesting, one of you Scorpio people said you've been working really hard, and the Nine of Pentacles definitely agrees with you on that. I will Dizzy got a gym party to go to tomorrow. That sounds like fun. You got the Nine of Pentacles for your money and materials. So for those of you, in fact for all of you, when it comes to the things that you've been working on behind the scenes, they're very nearly ready. And this suggests that the money that you're hoping to generate from something new or from new directions is absolutely there. I mean, this is a great week for finances, but again, it looks like one of those weeks where maybe you're working so hard that you don't get to even enjoy the fruits of your labor. Find a way around that, at least for going forward, even if it can't be this week. For your physical health and vitality, this is going to be your digestive system. It's going to be your, like really check in with that as well. Because, like when you get really stressed and anxious and stuff, you feel it in your gut and your tummy. So just look out for that this week. And then when it comes to your home, this would be a really good time to beautify the home, right? Change the furnishings, get a new, get something new in the home that is just going to add that sort of comfort, right? Start finding ways to make the home more conducive to what you're trying to do. For your love and relations, you have the World card. So for those of you that are meeting somebody new this week, because they come up as the world card, there's likely to be an age difference. So if you are meeting someone and you think, oh wow, you know, this person's a little bit of all right, it's either that you're older than them, usually anywhere from 5 months. I usually say anything up to and including 5 years older or younger, sometimes even more. It just depends. For those of you that are in relationships or partnerships already, whatever you and your partner have been working on, it kind of suggests, because you've got this right next to the Nine of Pentacles, this suggests that you are not only beautifying your environment, so i.e., you know, doing work on the home, but you're also starting to look at what the, you know, what the place that you live in is actually providing for you. Your eclipse message is the Gate 34 and power. What I love about this card, it's a rediscovery of your power, right? It always says to you that, so this eclipse, especially if you're an ascendant Scorpio, is taking place in your 12th house. That is a very powerful place, right? Much like your own sign or house, should I say, like the 8th house. And this, because it's a full moon lunar eclipse, right? So this is putting a spotlight, or a big spotlight, into your past, your history, your heritage, who you are, where you come from, what it's cost you to be who you are. All of this stuff is going to be highlighted to you, and this eclipse will give you the option of claiming all of that and doing something new with it, but you are going to have to take it in hand. This is not something that you can be you know, and that's not to say that you are, but it's not something that you can be passive about. It's something that you're going to have to really play a very active role in, whatever that looks like or means to you. All right, so that's Scorpio. I have to put this card here because another sign got that as well. So let's get into Sagittarius. Saggies. Saggy crew. Are there any of you in the hizzy? Hello everyone. Thank you for all of your lovely messages. Thank you for sharing. All right, let's have a look. No, I wasn't talking to you, Dizzy. I was talking to the person up there. All right, so for Sagittarius, you have the Justice card. So again, this whole, excuse me, this whole energy of commitments, what you're tying yourself to, making decisions, making final decisions, putting your name down on something, signing on the dotted line. Just remember, obviously, what's going on with the sky at the moment, so you just want to be aware of that. I just want to make sure that I have the right card. Just want to make sure. Is it? Yes, it's Justice. All right, cool. So yeah, you know, time to think about that, especially when it comes to your, so we've got quite a few Saggies in here. Hi Mandy. All right, so Saggy gang is in the house for sure. So you got the Five of Pentacles as your actions and options. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking to yourself, oh great, this is crap, right? What this actually says to me, more than anything else, this is you committing to addressing where you have had a lack mindset in the past. This is going to see you really paying attention to how you make more money, what you're prepared for now, and what you've done up until this point. I really kind of feel in a lot of ways that this is going to see you looking into that. I think this is a point where you could really change your mind on something, or where you could really rededicate yourself to something brand new, right? When it comes to that sort of whole area. Now, because it is the Five of Pentacles, this will also see you looking for a way out of a situation that no longer works for you or is no longer viable. And it's kind of like you're saying to yourself, if I'm going to make this work, I need to get rid of this thing that's holding me back. And it does feel like it's something in here. For your communications and conversations, you have the Page of Pentacles. For those of you Saggies, Sun, Moon or Ascendant, that are telling yourself your idea isn't it's not viable, or it's not good enough, it's not going to sell, it's not going to, That's this stuff, right? And you're literally moving away from that now, right? This is you making a decision to release the lack mindset, to let go of this idea that what you have or what you're doing isn't going to work, or whatever. Because it is the Page of Pentacles as well. Whatever your new path or idea is, you've got to just discard it. You have to commit to it. You've got to be in it 100%. No holds back. This is going to work. There is no other option. I am going to make this happen. You've got this eclipse, right, on the 26th that's taking place in your sign. This is a huge deal for you, right? Whether this is your sun, your moon, or your ascendant, this is a huge deal for you. This new path that's opening up, you've got to be about it, and you've got to commit to letting go of that lack mindset. You've got to commit to this new path that you're going into. When it comes to your those of you that work for somebody else, this is literally marching into the boss and saying, right, I want to upskill. I want to, I want to train in something different. I want a new pay bracket. What are you prepared to do about that? Right? For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever your new skills are, whatever the skills are that you've acquired, whatever it is that you have worked on or through, this is the time to start implementing it. Maybe not exactly right now, because obviously we've got some crazy astrology and it's not good to initiate something on an eclipse, but certainly from this week onwards, you want to start getting going with this, right? No holding back, no holding yourself back. When it comes to those of you that are retired or no longer working, this week, what are you prepared to put in? What are you prepared to study? What are you prepared to change? What are you prepared to work on to get to where you want to be? Mandy says she's fully committed. You better get it, honey. All right, for your, wow. Okay, so for your money and materials, look at this. Heart of a Lion, baby. You got the Crone card, which is actually the Strength card. And what this actually says to me is your heart is willing, right? The inner part of you is like, I'm ready for more money. I'm ready for my abundance. I'm ready for my next level. And your mind, or the mind monkey, as they say, is like, it might not work. Listen, this is one of those times where you can trust the heart, right? You can listen to the heart. When it comes to your finances and your money as well, you've got this right next to the Page of Pentacles. If there is something you're considering studying and you know it's going to cost you money, you know it's going to be like an investment, this for me suggests have the courage to make this investment. Have the courage to commit to whatever it is that you know is going to get you to that next level. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, your back, your spine, your heart, that whole sort of general area. That's not to say you're going to have any problems there, but those are the things that you want to focus on looking after this week. And then when it comes to your spinal health, especially, actually, because you've got the Justice card here. So this would literally be like the lower to mid back, that whole sort of area. Just make sure you really look after it. Do some strengthening exercises, etc. Obviously I'm not a medical professional, so check in with your people before you start, throwing shapes and stuff. And then when it comes to your home, I think for a lot of you, this is really you getting acquainted with or comfortable in the only home you're ever truly going to own. This is your home, right? This that you were gifted, that you were granted, this is your truest home. No matter what you own out there or in here or whatever, that's just stuff. This is your true home. This is a week for you to own that like never before. For your love and relations, this is beautiful. For those of you that are partnered or in relationships, love really does trump all this week, right? Your relationship is going to be your sanctuary. It's going to be your fortitude. Your relationship is going to be the thing this week that reminds you you can. Your relationship this week is going to be the space that reminds you what you are truly capable of. For those of you that are single, this is literally a new place, right? A new love, right? This is a new a new love, a new relationship that is coming in for you this week. Pay attention to who shows up this week, Saggies, for those of you that are single and looking, because you've got the eclipse happening in your sign, right? Sun, moon, or ascendant. This is a big energy that's showing up. So you could have a fated meeting of some sort this week. For your eclipse message, oh yeah, you got the Gate 22 and Grace. Do you know what I love most about this card? It reminds you to create for the sake of creating, for the joy that it brings you, right? Now, I'm going to talk about the other fact that there's the swan on the card, because this is really, really interesting. The fact that you have the Gate 22, right? So what is 22 energy? It's the master builder. Whatever you envision in here this week, you are going to be shown the steps to build it, to make it real, to make it tangible. But the caveat is this: you have to create from a place of love. You have to create or do what you're doing from a place of, I don't care what other people think of this. I love it, and I'm going to put my heart and soul into it, and that is enough. On top of that, you're right. So you've got the swan on the card there, right? So there's two messages here for those of you that are partnered in relationships. The person that you're with, that is your person, right? The person that you're with right now, that is your person. You are with them for a reason. For those of you that are single and looking and open, remember, the reason I'm saying this, for those of you that are single, the person that you meet this week, very likely to be your person, right? And the reason I say this, swans mate for life. They only ever have one that they will go on to have children with. And once that part, you know, if that person, that other swan dies or whatever, they never love again. They never mate again. So they have one for life. So this really for me is kind of like that soulmate energy. And I don't use that term loosely or frivolously. You guys know me. I'm not one of those readers, right? But pay attention this week because there's a lot going on there. All right, so that was Saggies. So we switched decks once more. Oh, thank you, Emmanuel. Love that. Love it. All right. So for Capricorn, let's just double check that's the right one. Yes, it is the right one. All right, so that should go there. So for Capricorn, you have the World card. In effect, this is kind of one of your cards because it represents your ruler, Saturn. And this week, Capricorns, you are going to have a moment where something just clicks and you kind of say, do you know what? It's all been leading up to this, right? There's going to be a moment this week that is going to help you make sense of pretty much everything that is happening for you, right? And I just realized I got something completely wrong. The eclipse is taking place in the second house for Scorpios. Capricorns, give me 2 seconds. If you are a Scorpio, sun, moon, or ascendant, the eclipse is taking place in your second house. I apologize, not your 12th house. Complete slip. I'm so very sorry, and I will put a thingy in the comments to say I got it wrong because you know somebody's going to point it out. Right? The fact that that's happening in your second house, though, is going to be really great for your money, your materials, and your finances. And it kind of fits with everything that was going on there, which is really cool. Okay, sorry about that. Capricorn, you have the World card or the universe in this deck. Just look at that card. How beautiful is that? I've always loved this card. So beautiful. Anyway, right. One of the things that I will say to you is this week, you are taking a step onto a new platform, onto a new threshold, onto a new plateau. In some way, shape or form, this week is going to be a great week for you, Cappies. And one of the things that I like about this it suggests that you are ready, right? Capricorn's one of those signs, and yes, you're a cardinal sign, right? So you understand this forward momentum thing, right? You absolutely understand that, but you're still an earth sign, and so movement or fast movement, not necessarily something that you're associated with. But this week, I kind of feel like you're saying to yourself, you know what, this change, this is the right one, right? It just feels like the right thing for you. And I kind of get this sense that this week, when you step through or over this threshold, something is going to be very different from here on in. It's like you can't or won't be able to go backward. And you will know this, like in a really deep sort of way. You're going to be very aware that you are crossing, like once you cross a threshold, it's like, okay, this is it. Now we're in, and there is no going back. For your actions and options, you have the King of Cups. Capricorns, this week you have to own your emotions, whatever they are, good, bad, happy, sad. There's a song that says that, isn't it? Happy, good, bad, happy, or sad. Like, whatever your emotions are, Capricorn, this week you have to own them 100%, whatever they are. And the reason I say this is because the King of Cups is the energy of utilizing your emotional intelligence, right? And the only way you can ever utilize emotional energy is by being intelligent, or at least conscious of what they actually are. So this week, I would, whether this looks like going to a counselor or a therapist, usually the King of Cups, whether this is you deciding to be really honest about how you feel, whether this is you saying to yourself, you know what, I am actually a little bit scared. I know there's this new thing on the horizon for me that could be absolutely amazing. I know I've wanted this new level that I've been working towards for the longest time, but I'm actually a little bit scared about walking through that door. Own that, right? It's like anybody that's, for those of you out there that are watching this, you know this. If you're a performer, if you put YouTube videos out, before you go on to do your thing, there's always that moment where you get nervous. Full disclosure, here's something that I've never shared before, and I'm going to share with you right now. Before every single personal reading that I do on Skype or Zoom, I get nervous. Before every single written reading that I send out to somebody that has booked, I get nervous. Before I do my YouTube videos, I get nervous. But rather than let that overtake what I'm doing, which I love so much, I use that energy and I channel it and I focus it. That's King of Cups shit. That's how you do it. You take those nerves and you channel them to do what needs to be done. Now, doing what needs to be done is a very Capricornian trait anyway. But this is about your emotions this week. That's not necessarily a realm that you're so comfortable with. Find a way to use that, all right? For your, communications and conversations, this is something that you've wanted or dreamt about for a long time. Love and Happiness by Curtis Mayfield. Ginseng, you better get it. What I love about this for you, this week the conversation is going to be lighter. It's going to be freer. There is an energy for Capricorns this week. Now, I know a lot of you are like, hang on, don't we have an eclipse in the 12th house? Yes, you do, right? But here's the thing. I see eclipses, especially full moons in the 12th house. I always get this feeling that it's like the universe is shining a light into the darkest space for you, and it burns away whatever the karma or the crap that you've shoved in that closet. Right, so all of that is being released this week, right? The universe is saying, right, we're going to shine this light and this eclipse at that, right, into your 12th house, and we're going to burn away all of the karma, the crap, the hassle, all the things that you've buried. This week, you really do get to let a lot of your baggage go, Capricorn. It's not going to be comfortable or easy, but if you do this work, I promise you, you will feel freer than you felt in a very long time. I love this for you, right? So for those of you that work for somebody else, you off on your travels, that new job that you've applied for or interviewed for, It's yours. This week you get that letter. This week you get that email. This week you get that phone call. Congratulations, we would like to hire you or employ you or whatever, however they do it. I haven't had a job in nearly 4 years now. This is my job, obviously, but you get my point. For those of you that are self-employed, business owners, entrepreneurs, this is you reaching the next level. This is you connecting with or to the person, the organization, the people, the clients that are your next level. And with this kind of jump or move forward, what tends to happen is we reach that ceiling and then it's like, this is... Don't do that to yourself. Remember what I said to you about the emotional control this week. Really, really important. Don't sell yourself short and don't convince yourself out of your blessing, right? Hold firm. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, this is the week for you to connect with the like minds and souls that you are really wanting to find. One of the things that comes up with this as well, I do wonder if for some of you, you've been saying to yourself for the longest time, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it's like, it's so different to everything that you're known for that you're now saying, okay, you know what? It's kind of bite the bullet time. It really is. For your money and materials, you've got the Five of Swords. So it does look like there are going to be some challenging conversations about money and finances this week. Because it's the Five of Swords, one of the things that I will say to you is when it comes to your money, anywhere you are maybe having to collaborate with someone when it comes to finances, or having to fund or help somebody with money, or having discussions about money, that looks like it's going to be the challenge. I don't feel that this is specifically your actual money. I feel like it's all the crap that's attached to it. Do some work around that. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is going to be your nervous system. It's going to be your skin possibly as well. Just look after those aspects of yourself. So this week, because the anxiety is likely to be high, find a way to bring that down. When it comes to your home and environment, well, look, if you have to have a tough convo, you're Capricorns, right? If you need to pull rank, but don't lose yourself in the process. And then finally, for your love and relations, you have the Judgment card. Now, what I would say is this. For some of you, pay attention. This week, you might have a dream or an intuition about an ancestor. You might have a connection or a visitation from somebody that has passed over, that is no longer with us. You might have a realization that might come through the family. Maybe there's a bombshell that's dropped in the family this week. It's definitely possible. If you are meeting someone this week, they're likely to be very different to everything to everything and everyone that you've dated previously. For those of you that are in partnerships and relationships, don't let outside influences or forces get the better of you this week, because it looks like verbally, Capricorn, you might go overboard. And if that is the case, remember it's the Judgment card. So this could create a we're either in or we're out kind of situation. All right. So just think about it. Your eclipse message is the gate for and answer. I don't know if you saw just recently, I put this out and I can't remember what video, what sign got this card, but I'm going to tell you. Your message for the eclipse is this. Whatever you want or need or want to welcome into your life, it has to be a very clear process. Ask the question, I'll give you an example that I used in that video. I want a new car, right? So you put the question out and you have to wait for the external world to give you the invite or to give you the answer. Not your intuition, not a vision or anything like that. It has to be the external world. So you say, right, okay, universe, I want a new car. You walk around the corner and the dealership is offering no administration fees and discount on any certain type of car. That is a physical answer from the material world. So this eclipse is asking you to get into a symbiotic relationship with the universe. right? So pay attention to what comes up. All right, Capricorn. So, Aquarius, my dear Aquarians, my dear Aquarius brothers and sisters, Aqua crew, Laurel, hello, my darling, my Aquarian sister there. She's such a sweetheart. All right, let's get into Aquarius. So, yours was also the Strength card. That's why I kept that card out earlier. So you're going to have the courage this week, Aquarius. It looks like there's either a big reveal that's coming up, something that you've been working on or through behind the scenes, something that has been happening for you or has been shaping up for a while. And this week, it kind of feels to me like you're going to have to share something. You're going to have to really kind of put yourself out there in a lot of ways. And it's like, wow, am I ready to do this? Am I ready to make such a big change or such a big difference? Am I ready to move in such a big new direction? Who am I going to upset? Who am I going to let down? Do you know what I mean? Like, and the Strength card is basically saying you're going to have the courage to do this now that and this is a thing as well. Aquarians are really good at hypothesizing. We're really good at putting things in place, but just like a true fixed sign, even though we're fixed air, there is an element of us that likes what is familiar, right? So to suddenly, it's like, now is go time, now is execution time. It's like, oh, I don't know how this is going to be received. And because our friends and our family mean so much to us, if we know that what we're going to do is upsetting the apple cart, or it is taking us in a direction that our people may not approve of, it's like, shit, this is uncomfortable, man. I'm going against my tribe, my people. But it's the Strength card. You got to walk this path, Aquarius, whatever that means to you. In your actions and options, you have the Queen of Pentacles. So whatever move you're making, you know that the long-term implications are going to make things much better for you on the financial level. You know that whatever plans you are putting into practice are likely to yield amazing fruit. But you're also aware that it's going to take you time to develop, and that it looks like whatever you're doing is a little bit of a hop, skip and a jump energy. It's like, I can do this, but like you can see all the results that will come from it, but there's like this, I don't know. I'm just going to have to go for it and see. When it comes to your look at that, communications and conversations, right? What I love most about this, once you make this declaration, once you share whatever it is that you're doing, whatever direction that you're going in, it looks like the support of your people that you really want, once they get past the initial, oh my gosh, you're doing what now? Once they get past that, they are absolutely going to rally behind you. Whatever material decision you are making, it's the right one. Whatever direction is going to cost you in the short term but pay out in the long run is absolutely the right way to go. Just verify all the facts of whatever it is that you're doing at this moment in time. For those of you that work for somebody else, this is recognition within the work, within the career, and it's you feeling really good about what you've achieved or what you've accomplished. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this is you really starting to understand what you do well and what you can, whether this is what you can charge for what you do, a realization that actually, this could be a week as well where you might be looking at everything that you've achieved versus where you've come from and just be like, I can't believe where I am compared to where I am 5 years ago. You're going to be having a conversation about that this week, and I think it's really going to highlight to you just how well you've done, but it's also going to highlight to you what you're totally ready for. Listen to the conversations that happen this week, especially ones with family members, friends, partners, all the rest of it. When it comes to those of you that are retired or no longer working for any reason, Your Six of Wands is you finally knowing what you're ready to move ahead with. This is you finally ready to own or to claim whatever it is that you're ready to put into motion. They're all general readings, and this is for Aquarius at the moment. So for your money and materials, you have the Temperance card, right? Temperance is all about alignment. When it comes to money, when it comes to materials, when it comes to finances, whatever you're about to go for, whatever you are about to create, whatever you're about to do, you have manifested this opportunity. And you've done it, look, right next to the Six of Wands, you've manifested this opportunity for yourself, and you've done it in the right way. It's taken you time, it's taken you effort, it's taken you hard work. You've pushed beyond everything that you know, everything that you thought was possible to get to this moment. This is that moment where you need to finally get into that receiving mode, where you can say to yourself, okay, you know what? I asked for it, I worked for it, I prayed for it, I did my energy work, I did my alignment, I did my vision board, I did whatever it is, right? Now it's time to cash in. And, you know, this is also about accepting whatever responsibility goes with that as well. For your physical health and vitality, this is going to be your thighs, your lower back. Interesting as well that this should come up. Your thighs, your lower back, and your buttocks. The reason I say this, and because it comes up with the Six of Wands as well, the reason I say this is when you have challenges or issues with your lower back, that is worry about your financial future. So whatever moves Aquarius looks like they're making, there is in the back of their mind a consideration of, okay, this could set me up for my future, but it could just as easily be a drawback. Alignment, whatever you're putting out as a broadcast, you're going to get more of. Come out of that worry, destroy that idea that it's going to go wrong or whatever. Let that go right now. Okay? For your home and environment, I mean, it's next to the Six of Wands. For those of you that are hoping to buy homes, this is good news. For those of you that are doing work on your homes, this is good news. For those of you that are maybe thinking of moving in general, this week, it looks like you are finally going to find the place. Even if that looks like, you know what, I finally settled on the area that I want to live in. This week, you have that realization. For your love and relations, you've got the Five of Wands. For those of you that are partnered, married, relationship, this week, don't let anybody else put their 2 cents in on your relationship. If you are spending time with friends and getting out in that regard, I think this could be great for you. Just keep it lighthearted, and whatever subjects you want to keep off the table, just keep them off the table. For those of you that are single, it's going to be through your friendship group, through your people, your chosen family, your tribe, that you're meeting somebody. And it could be in a highly sociable situation as well, which is definitely possible. All right, so your eclipse message, Aquarius, is the gate 48 and depth. So there's no shying away from it, right? There is something very big and very new on the horizon for you, and there's no getting away from it. You are, this week, my Aquarian people, we're known for being very cerebral, very up in here anyway. But this week, you are going to have to think harder and deeper than you have in a very long time. And this eclipse is really asking you to pay attention to that, right? What are the implications long term for what I'm about to do? And more importantly, what am I prepared to give up in order to make them a reality? All right. And then finally, for my wonderful, wonderful, last but definitely not least or forgotten, you beautiful Pisces people, your weekly, your key to the week card is the Hierophant. This is about really taking something into the what's the word? Taking something into the what's the word that I'm looking for? I want to say into the, not the legal field, but taking something into the official field. Like whatever it is that you're working on this week, you're making it very official. This is like you really starting to think, you know, not even just thinking long term. This is going to see you being really doing things above board and by the book for sure, but it's also going to see you establishing something, and something, you know, terra firma, something concrete in a way. The other thing with the Hierophant card as well, this can sometimes represent where we are being initiated. So this could be a boss invites you to something. This could be, you know, maybe you are elevated in some way, shape or form, or maybe you are put on notice for something big, right? Like, yes, in answer to that, sorry, 2 seconds, I will be doing these live from here on in. This is how it's going to be from now on. So I hope that helps you in some way, shape or form. So for your actions and options, you've got the Knight of Pentacles. Whatever it is that you're working on or towards, Pisces, there is an understanding that it is going to take time, right? So as long as you're not expecting immediate results and you're willing to put the work in, there is a sense here that you could become a household name, right? Something this week that is revealed to you, or an idea that you have, something that you're maybe setting into motion, maybe something that you are starting to really put serious plans together for, maybe something that you have wanted for a long time. It does look like you could potentially be having a meeting of some sort with a superior. So this could be with a boss, it could be with a person in a position of authority to help you in some way, shape or form. It could just as easily be as well somebody that is in a position to be a benefactor, right? But there's a sense here that whoever it is that you're meeting up with, you're having to travel to them. For your communications and conversations, you have the Eight of Wands. So for some of you, this could literally be like a Skype call or a Zoom call. For some of you, this could be about a purchase that you're hoping to make. Now, you've got the Eight of Wands, right? So this is going to see you, maybe for some of you, checking in with a teacher. Maybe you're finding a mentor, finding a coach, working with somebody that can really help you solidify or further your ends or your goals or your dreams. The other thing is as well, because it is the Eight of Wands, right? So this would be a week to really pay attention to all of the communications that you're having, because the wisdom and the gems in those conversations might be really small and fleeting. When it comes to your those of you that work for somebody else, this week, if you are called upon by the boss, if you're called upon to do something that isn't necessarily in your job description, revel in that opportunity and do your absolute best with it, because it could really turn into something else that you were not expecting at all. All right. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this is the time that you need to start reaching out to these bigger organizations. This is the time, maybe working with big organizations, reaching out to them, aligning yourself with bigger institutions or establishments. There's something here that suggests you are maybe even taking something corporate. Who knows, right? And then for your those of you that are retired or no longer working for any reason, one of the things that comes up here is this is about how you use the information that is available to you, right? And I would vet that information before you do anything with it, especially if you're feeding this into a long-term goal or something that you're hoping to bring into the world, like a project or whatever. It could be as well that some of you are getting news from afar about somebody else's money, finances, or resources. It might be that somebody requests something from you. So you've got the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles coupled with the Hierophant card can literally represent, doesn't always, but can represent Taurus season. Now, we're already in Gemini season. So one thing that I will say to you is whatever is happening for you this week, pay attention, because it's likely to be coming to fruition, or you'll be revisiting it again next year around late April coming into early May. All right, so really interesting. Now, when it comes to your money, materials, and finances, for those of you that are initiating new business projects, for those of you that are starting something new, for those of you that are bringing new projects to the fore or working on new projects behind the scenes, this is great. For those of you that are hoping to go on to teach or to offer courses in some way, shape, or form, this is absolutely brilliant. And it does suggest it could be more lucrative than you expect, especially if it's like an online course, something that people can buy where you don't necessarily have to be present, which is great. For your physical health and vitality, the throat, the neck, the voice, this whole sort of general area is going to be really important to look after. And then for your home sector, well, look, if you're thinking about creating a space for yourself, making a little office space, creating the place that you're going to dominate the world from, this would be a really good week to do so, really. And then finally, for your love and relations, you have the Two of Swords. So pay attention to your intuition this week, right? So for those of you that are meeting someone new or aligning with someone new, this is likely to be somebody whose job is their title: doctor, lawyer, police officer, etc. This is also going to be you having an instinctual or intuitive hit on the person that so you could be meeting someone this week where maybe, just maybe, you're like, you know what, this person feels like they're the right one to me. Do you know what I mean? So just listen to that. But because it comes up next to the Page of Pentacles, this is going to be a slow burn, right? So whoever it is that's coming into your life this week, Pisces, it's going to be very, very slow to get going. It's not flash in the pan stuff. For those of you that are married, partnered, or in relationships, this week, if there is a divergence of paths between what you want and need and what your partner requires, from you as well, or what they want and need, pay attention to where the intersection is, like where you can actually meet in the middle and where you really can't. This is going to see you being very, very honest with your partner, and it might even see you doing a very un-Piscean thing and taking your feelings out of the equation. Like this week, you might just be able to say, actually, you know what, this is what I feel is going to be best. Where can we meet in the middle on this? So, have that convo. Your eclipse message is the Gate 49 and Revolution. This is also known as, I think it's called the Sleeping Phoenix. And this is really, Pisces, this is a week for you to tap into your own unbridled power. And you really do have it. When Pisceans are truly awakened, enlightened, or aware of themselves and their abilities, they have the power of the collective consciousness at their fingertips. But it requires discipline and focus to tap into and to use, right? So this week, find a way. Let the eclipse show the way for you of how to use your personal power, where you can, do what needs to be done effectively. I think that would really, really help you. Okay, so those are the messages for all 12 signs. Thank you so much to all of you for being here. Thank you for watching. I truly hope that this has helped you, that you loved it, that you feel served by it in some way, shape, or form, and it helps you for your week ahead. This is going to be the new format. It's likely to be every Friday from here on in. So let me know. Do you love it? Do you loathe it? Yeah, just let me know how it works for you. And I will put timestamps and everything on this video at some point over the course of today, so that you can just skip to, your sun, moon, and ascendant. And with that said, don't forget on the 26th, I will be going live with Achuta Bava, and that's going to be a whole heap of info all about the eclipse and what is likely to be going on for all of us in some way, shape, or form. Plus, there will be tarot pulls. It wouldn't be a wouldn't be a Radiant reality video either, would it, really, without a tarot card pull? So with that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week.